Hi there friends, we just had Daniel Sull from the Microsoft engineering team on our episode, responsible for the Azure Image Builder service.
Thanks Christian, looking forward to speaking about Image Builder.
And we just took a real deep dive with Daniel on how you can streamline your image processes within WVD. Join us because we're starting right now.
Hi there friends, and welcome on another episode of Desktops in the Cloud, your technical-driven video podcast with guest speakers from Microsoft Engineering and as well the worldwide virtual desktop communities.
Thanks to everyone who's been supporting Desktops in the Cloud, which you can do by clicking that subscribe button and sharing our videos with others. If you want to appear in one of our future episodes, ping us on social media or our website, desktopsinthecloud.com.
So this episode is all around streamlining image management for Windows Virtual Desktop with Daniel Sull, one of the PMs on the Azure Compute Engineering team out of Redmond. Hi Daniel, how are you doing?
Good, thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, we are really pleased to have you finally on the show. It took a while, so we are very glad to have you right now. So before we jump into the content that you prepared and really take a deep dive on image management with Azure Image Builder, the new relatively new service on Azure, can you tell a little bit more about yourself and your role within Microsoft?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a program manager in Azure Compute team. I've been in role probably for about 5 years. So I work across configuring virtual machines and also configuring images and taking that holistic view from the end to end, from a user experience.
Yeah, so we know you, of course. We work with you on several occasions and customer engagements pretty often. But just for the people that tune in here and want to learn more about Azure Image Builder, so every service starts with a new line of code and an ID. So I know you have been part of Azure Image Builder from day one, right? So what is the reason of creating such service? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure. So when we have spoken to customers and reviewed support cases a while ago, we were seeing that customers were having challenges creating custom images. Our customers don't just create custom images for Azure, they do it for multiple clouds. They also have to do it across multiple operating systems. And to create custom images means you need to know something about the operating system and the cloud platform you're going to deploy it to. To do that effectively, you're going to need to then learn some tooling, and if you're building images at scale, you'll need to create a pipeline to build out that automation. So from a customer point of view, there's a ramp up in order to learn how to create images. So Image Builder allows customers to create images by describing custom images within a template and passing that to a service that handles all the automation and the building for them.
So that are great insights. So thanks for that. So I can imagine that Azure Image Builder sounds for a lot of viewers that hear this like for the first time as a very complex service. So we know, of course, the opposite. But can you share and level set the audience like more about the architecture around Azure Image Builder service and explain like how it is from a high level architecture perspective?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, let's talk about Image Builder and what the high level architecture looks like. So to get started, you need to create an image configuration. At the start of that, you need to define what the source is. Image Builder, as mentioned, supports both Windows and Linux. For this, obviously, you'd want to use a Windows 10 image, and then you need to set up what customizations you want it to run. Image Builder supports a whole plethora of customizations. So you can add scripts and commands. These can be in PowerShell or Shell. You can also add access to VNet resources. So if you want Image Builder to connect to resources on your existing VNet, you can pass Image Builder a VNet and subnet resource ID, and then that will allow Image Builder to connect to maybe existing file shares or maybe configuration servers. You can add files to the image, so maybe you want to add binaries or agents. You can then run Windows Update and Windows Restart. Lastly, you'll set up the distribution. Where do you want Image Builder to actually put the images? So then you take this configuration template and then you submit the configuration to the service. You then will start the build and the service will consume it and it will set up the pipeline in the background. What you'll notice is that inside your own subscription, a staging resource group will be created, and this will contain a build VM that actually creates the custom image for you with some other resources. Once the build VM is finished, it will shut down the virtual machine. By default, it will run sysprep, and then it will create an image, and then it will distribute it to the Azure Shared Image Gallery. It will take those images and replicate them around the world for you.
Okay, so thanks for those great insights again. So I really think this helps to level set the audience on a baseline of knowledge around what you have in store for the rest of the episode. So hang in there with us, because it will be fun. So just to chime into that operating system support list, and as well more Azure, like from an Azure region kind of perspective. So what are the operating systems that are supported for Azure Image Builder, and what are the regions that are currently supported for Azure Image Builder service where you can use the service in, for example?
Yeah, so we have a full list of regions, but just I mean, at the top off the top of my head, you have support for Windows 10, Windows Server 2016 and 2019. At the moment, we're in some US regions, and we're also in Europe, but we're planning to scale out very, very soon.
Hey Daniel, I know that you've prepared a lot of demos for everyone today, and we're definitely excited to get to that, but I've got to ask one question first. From day one, the image builder was JSON based, but now we can do everything via PowerShell. Was this by a customer request, and is there a specific advantage to the PowerShell method?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dean. So yeah, when Image Builder was initially born, everything would be configured through this JSON template, and then you would submit it to the API, and Image Builder consume it. But we do have, like you mentioned, we have PowerShell commandlets. We also have the AZ CLI equivalent. Terraform's coming very soon. We also have an AZ DevOps task. The PowerShell makes it a bit easier. What it actually does is it curates the image template for you, so you don't have to even concern yourself with JSON. It also provides the management capability. So when you want to start the build, you want to stop the build, you may want to see the status of the build, and so it gives you sort of that, beginning to end scenario usability.
Great. Why don't we jump into some demos?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. So for this demo, what we're going to show you is an end-to-end example where you can use Image Builder to create your Windows Virtual Desktop custom images. This is an end-to-end example, and what it's going to do is it's going to install FSLogix, it's going to run some WVD optimization scripts, and then it's going to install an LOB app. In this case, it's going to be Teams, and we're going to show you how Windows Image Builder does Windows restarts and how it handles Windows updates. There's a couple of tips though when you want to build images with Azure Vim Image Builder. First of all, VM size. If you're configuring Windows images, you need to make sure that you have the correct size build VM. The build VM is only used for the build and is destroyed straight after. Image Builder uses a standard D1, but this only has about 3.5 gig of memory. You should really be using a standard D2 or above, or make sure that if you're handling large files or containers, that Image Builder the Image Builder build VM is at a suitable size with memory and CPU to handle that. Next, make sure that you have the correct permissions to run the scripts. So you see settings such as run elevated and run system. If you're creating Windows 10 images, you should make sure that if you need to run commands or scripts with elevated permissions, that these are both set to true. Comment your code. It's really important that you put comments inside your scripts or in your inline commands. This is so when Image Builder runs and you look in the customization log for troubleshooting, you can see at what point Image Builder is within your build, and if there's any errors, then you can see what was the last code step that was starting to execute. And this leads on to the next tip of ensuring that you're showing or you're omitting the last exit code. If Image Builder is running a customization, it must return a 0 exit code. Any non-zero exit codes will return or will result in Image Builder failing the build. Lastly, ensure you test all your scripts and your code on a standalone VM before you run it on Image Builder. This will make it easier for you to troubleshoot and diagnose issues and ensure that you've got the right settings and you're using the right privilege, etc. So getting started, when you actually want to work with Image Builder, you need to ensure you're registered for the feature and also that you've registered for all the providers that are required for the Image Builder, so things such as storage, compute, Key Vault, networking, and Image Builder itself. In the end-to-end example that we're going to be setting up some variables, and this is going to set up our resource group where we're going to put the Image Builder template resource. We're going to set up the subscription ID and some of the names of the template in the shared image gallery. The next step is around permissions. For Image Builder to work, you must grant it permission to resources inside your subscription. So, for example, if you want Image Builder to create a custom image, maybe from a Windows 10 marketplace image, and put that into the shared image gallery, you must ensure that Image Builder is given permissions to write that image into the Azure Shared Image Gallery. Also, if it's referencing things such as storage accounts or virtual networks, you must ensure it has the correct permissions, and these are all documented. The way the permission model works in Image Builder is you need to create a user identity, and then you grant that user identity permissions, and you can do this by creating a custom role definition, and then you grant then you create a role assignment based on the role definition. The next step here is that you'd create a shared image gallery. If you've got one already, then you can use that straight away. Then it's configuring the templates. So as you're probably aware, there is multiple types of Windows 10 images. For this, you're really concerned about the multi-session image. If you want to find out what Windows 10 images are available, then you can run this PowerShell command, and this will show you the available Windows 10 images. After that, we have a pre-canned template with placeholders, and running this code will basically just swap out the placeholders with the variables that you set a bit earlier in the example. So let's jump into VS Code and take a look. Okay, so if we want to find out which available Windows Virtual Desktop images are available, then we can simply run this PowerShell command, and you can see the different image SKUs that are available to you. We've already gone and set that. Before this demo, I've already gone and run through the code in that end-to-end example, and we already have the template that's already created. So let's take a look at the template. So this template that we're using in the end-to-end example, what you'll notice is that this is actually an Azure Resource Manager template with an Image Builder template nested inside of it. Why are we doing that? You can use the benefits of Azure Resource Manager templates or ARM templates, such as using variables and parameters. And in this case, what we're doing is we're passing some parameters in, such as template name or API version and service location. So let's look at the resources, i.e. the actual Image Builder template properties itself. So here you can see the Image Builder resource, and then you can see the identity that we're using. So we're using this user assigned identity, and now you can see some of the properties of the actual build itself. So things such as build timeout in minutes. This is set to 2 hours. Obviously, if your builds take as long as your customizations take, so you may want to up that. You can see things such as VM profile that shows you the the build VM size, and now you can see the source. So we're using this multi-session Azure Marketplace image, but the source could also be an existing custom image, whether that's a managed image or shared image, gallery image. And then now you can see the customizations that we're running. So we have multiple customizations. What you'll notice in this template is that customizations are an array. You can have multiples of these. However, if any of these customizations fail, it will result in the whole build failing. What you'll notice here that I'm using a PowerShell customization and I'm using script URI. I could also use inline scripts as well. You'll notice some of the properties I'm using for permissions there. So first of all, I'm going to be referencing my FSLogix script. If you look in the example, you can go and look in detail at what that's doing. You can then see I'm optimizing the operating system using the script here, and then I'm getting Image Builder to do a restart. All restarts need to be handled by this customization in the Image Builder. You can't do them from inside the template. Then lastly, I'm installing Teams. I'm performing another Windows restart after that, and then I'm running a Windows update. The Windows update will install multiple Windows updates, and it will also handle any restarts that it needs for those individual updates. So now we've got the template all pre-configured. We're now ready to submit it to the service. So I'm just going to update my parameters that I'm going to be passing into that template. And now I'm going to submit the template to the service. This can take at least a minute or so, so do expect it to take a bit of time and not return back straight away. At this time, Image Builder is checking the template for syntax errors. It's then ensuring that it has the right permissions, such as accessing the shared image gallery that was referenced. It checks that the source image is available as well, and if you're referencing files in the customizations, it's also checking it has permissions to accessing them, and it's actually downloading those files that are referenced by script URI and putting it into a staging resource group that resides in your subscription. And we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. So now what you can see is that the template was submitted to the service, and this is essentially known as provisioning, and you can see that it's succeeded. This means that the template, or the Azure VM Image Builder template resource will be visible in your resource group there that we created for this demo. And also what will happen, there'll be a staging resource group that's created in the background, and we'll see that shortly. We're going to start the build by using this PowerShell commandlet. And this is an asynchronous command. And you can see that it's just started. We can now go to the portal. And if I do a refresh, you'll see here, this is WVD template I. This has been created. If I take this template name and then search for it here, you'll see here we've got this IT underscore resource group name, template name, and GUID resource group created. This is the staging resource group that's created by Image Builder. And as the build starts running, you're going to see more and more resources start being created. So you'll see a virtual machine that's used for the build here. You're going to see key vaults and some other resources start building up. You can go into the storage accounts, and if you need to troubleshoot, you can go into the containers, and you can see in Packer logs, you'll be able to see the customization.log. So now the build is actually running. And as it starts running, all those resources will be deployed, and the service will connect to the build VM, and start firing down all those commands at them. How can you actually check the status of what's happening with that build? Let's jump back to VS Code. What we can do is we can query the status of the build at any time, and you can just use this commandlet here, and we can get the status properties out of that. So let's do that. The property you're interested in here is the last run state. This will tell you what's happening. And then if you look at the substate, you'll see that at the moment it's building. So that means that the resources are being deployed and we're starting to apply the customizations. Once it's finished that, it will then switch to distributing, and that means it's creating the image and distributing it to the shared image gallery. You can also see here things like the provisioning state as well, and you will see any error codes, they'll appear here. Now that build started, and that's going to take some time to run. Let's have a look at another build that's already run. So the build has already run and completed successfully, and I'm going to go into my resource group that I created for the demo, and here's my shared image gallery. And what you can see in my shared image gallery, I've already got 2 images that are created. This was already created from when I just ran the code just before this webinar. I can then go and create a virtual machine from these by simply just clicking on Create VM. One thing to notice is that the version number here, this is a version number based off date time. You can actually get Image Builder and specify which version you want it to distribute to. So that's it for the demo. What we've seen in the demo, you've seen me curate a template. I put some customizations in there, and these customizations are installing FSLogix. They're installing some OS optimizations, and then they're installing themes, running some Windows updates and some Windows restarts. It's then distributed the image out to the shared image gallery, and we're now in a position where we can start creating virtual machines from it. There's also something else I wanted to show you. Everything I've shown you has all been driven using templates and using PowerShell. But what about if you don't want to do that? What I'm excited to actually give you today is a sneak peek of some functionality that hopefully you're going to be seeing very soon in the portal. Up until now, really, there is no support for Azure VM Image Builder in the portal. However, coming very soon, we will have support for it. So let's have a look at that. This is a preview of some functionality we're working on now. And what you can see is here, you can see the actual Azure VM Image Builder template resources in the resource group. Before, you would have had to have clicked on Show Hidden Types. But if I actually click on one of the templates, so this here is a build I just ran before this, you can actually see that this shows me the properties of that build that ran a bit earlier. You can see here that the build run state had succeeded. You can obviously see that the template had to provision successfully, and you can see some details. What's really nice is that I can actually jump in and look at the build properties in more detail, so I can see the customizations that ran. So just in case I've mislaid the original configuration template or code that I used to create the template, I can go and see the properties of that template here. I also have some administration options as well, so I can start the build, I can stop the build, and I can also delete this image template. As soon as you delete the image template, you'll find that staging resource group has is deleted as well. Now, this is really nice, but what about if I want to actually then create a custom image from the portal using the Azure VM Image Builder? Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to jump into the shared image gallery that I've already got, and namely into the actual shared image gallery definition. And if I click on Create Version, it takes me to a screen that looks familiar right now. What I do is I will put in a version number, and then as soon as I select Add Customizations, I will see what source images I want to select. So this could be a marketplace image, so let's just choose that. And I'm going to select a Windows 10 Pro. It can be whatever image, and you can see a bigger list here. And then what it allow me to do, it will allow me to add customizations. So I can select the virtual network I want Image Builder to connect to. I can select the build VM size. I can obviously change the operating system disk size. When I say change, I mean increase only. And then I can select the managed identity I want Image Builder to use. A word of warning, the managed identity must be created before you walk through this flow, and it must have permissions to all the right resources that you're referencing. And then here, in the same way you saw in the JSON template, I can go in and I can run PowerShell commands, I can run scripts. If I want to run scripts, then I need to make sure that I'm referencing that, and then I can place that in here, and then I can add some Windows restart if I wanted to, etc., etc. And then I'd click review and create. So this is just a sneak peek of what we're working on right now. These things are subject to change, and there's no set timeline yet, but please keep an eye out for them.
That looks great, Daniel. I got a couple follow-up questions for you. One, is there any limit to the number of applications or configurations that you can add inside a template?
Currently, there isn't a limit on how many you can have. We have some customers who are doing over 100 customizations.
Wow, okay. And I definitely love the new GUI experience. Is the ultimate goal so that I could submit the template just like any other JSON template into Azure, and then the result is I get my image?
At the moment, we don't have the capability where you could actually submit the template through the portal, but that is something that's under consideration. We want to make sure that we've actually made a really simple experience for a customer to just click through the different customizations and configurations for Image Builder as a first step.
Okay, sounds good. Final question I'm thinking around is the Image Builder itself. It's a service that's been in preview for quite a while. Do we have a GA date that we could share with folks?
So yeah, that's a great question. The current ETA will be this year.
Awesome. All right. How can people get in touch with you or make suggestions for Azure Image Builder or follow you on social media?
So for suggestions, just go to the GitHub repo that's referenced in this example, and just submit an issue there, and we will pick up the suggestion.
All right, thanks, Daniel. And we've been talking about the Azure Image Builder, a great service for your image control in Azure, and especially now in WVD. Thanks so much for joining us today, and make sure that you're subscribed to Desktops in the Cloud. Click the like button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest stuff around WVD. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.